Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Built for the Stage podcast. This is Joe Roscoe, founder and host of Built for the Stage, Broadway's #1 fitness platform, with actor athletes in over 20 Broadway shows, stages in the West End of London, Australia, collegiate theaters across the country, and many more. We are your one-stop shop for all things theater and fitness. Check us out, builtforthestage.com, or say hey on the IG at Built the Stage. All right, let's get excuse me. Let's get on to our special guest. Special guest as always. They're currently in the production of Kimberly Akimbo, Tony Award winner. No big deal. I got to see the show maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and I actually went into it pretty blindly, didn't know what I was getting into, and the genuine, tangible relatability of the story, even though it kind of is out of the ordinary and giving Benjamin Button vibes, it at the heart of it was so relatable. So if you're in New York, run and see the show. If you're not in New York, buy a plane ticket and fly to see the show, or run to New York. I don't know. Just make a way and get there. So our guest was also seen in The Prom on Broadway, Mean Girls, the national tour, and they currently are playing the role of Martin in Kimberly Akimbo. Please welcome to the podcast, Fernell Hogan. And the crowd goes wild.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me on our Moving Thursday. For everyone that's listening, we both are sitting in disheveled apartments right now with boxes and furniture broken down. We're both in the midst of moving. So, sending you much love and peace during this stressful time.
Thank you. Same to you. It is a struggle.
Not to get too specific, but like, what area of New York have you relocated to?
I'm moving to Midtown.
Wow, in the heart of it.
Yeah, I want to stroll to work while I can.
Yeah, you're gonna be strolling to work with the masses, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind it? Do you still love the hustle and bustle of the city, or are you kind of over that?
No, I'm still into it. Every year I think I need a couple weeks away from it to be like, oh, this is what civilization lives like.
Right.
But while I'm enjoying it.
Right. So as I mentioned, you play the role of Martin in the show. Was this a role or a show that when it was like released and you were auditioning for the show, something that you're like, oh, I'm obsessed with this? Or did you kind of also have this intrigued, like, what is this piece here? What's going on here?
It was definitely intrigue, a hint of worry. They had us do I got the tape during the pandemic while I was in Houston. And it was for 3 songs. And the first one was Skater Planet, which is like the opening number, which feels very much like a musical about high school kids. And then the next one that we had to do was Better, which was Better, Your Shitty Little Life Better. And I was like, okay, I don't see how those two add together, but all right. And then the third song we had to do was Lupus, a song about lupus,
Right.
which turned into scurvy. But getting those 3 songs, I was like, I have no clue what this show is remotely about, and these songs aren't helping me get there.
Okay, okay, yeah. Tell me when you start to piece it together.
I didn't piece it together until like our first read through. But
Okay.
when I got the audition, I saw the 2 names, David Lindsay Abaire and Janine Tesori, and I was like, I have definitely seen these 2 names together somewhere, and I couldn't piece where it was. And then I started looking. I was like, oh my god, they wrote Shrek, and that was enough for me to be like, I'm in. Like I don't fully understand, but I trust.
Right. Okay, so let's rewind. So when do you start performing growing up? Something you always have done, or when did you stumble upon this?
Yeah, I started performing at a young age. I did theater in school, basically my whole school life. I didn't start musical theater until high school when I auditioned. I went to a performing arts high school and I auditioned as a straight actor, and they had us all sing the first day. They were like, "You're now in musical theater," and I was like, "No, I'm not." And they were like, "Yeah, you are." So that was my introduction to musical theater.
Oh
So
wow.
that all throughout high school, and then went to a dance school after that for a year, and then I moved to New York and I went to Pace, where I was a business major.
Oh.
Rise, haha.
Yeah, okay, good. We're gonna get into that in a second. Where are you originally from? What state?
I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay, Houston, Texas. And the high school that you went to was based out of there? The
Yeah, it's called High School for the Performing and Visual Arts. We have a couple good alumni, one being Beyonce.
Okay, okay, there you go. I've heard of her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so wait, you go to Pace for business, you said?
Yeah, I went to Pace for business. I only ended up going for 1 year because while I was there, I auditioned for the prom. Um, but yeah, I
Oh.
went full business major. That was the plan.
What was you auditioned for the prom? So was your intent to like, okay, I'm gonna go to this college in New York City and get a more typical degree, if you will, while still intending to audition? Was that the plan?
That was like that was yes, that was the plan in the back of my mind. Like, oh, I'm still going to do dance classes and then maybe start auditioning. Um, but then while I was there, I wanted to take a dance class and I couldn't afford one. I tell the story a lot. And I was like, auditions are free. So then I got online, found the prom, went to that. And that's what took me out of business school.
Right. Wow, very cool story. Okay, so you can't afford dance classes, so you go to do dance auditions instead, and that just happens to lead you to booking your Broadway debut.
Exactly.
Not a bad story, huh?
Not a bad journey.
Wow, just roll out the red carpet for you. Okay. Okay, so you booked the prom, and then so you must have been on the Mean Girls tour pretty recently then, like before
Yeah.
this Kimberly Akimbo.
Yeah, it was I did prom closed. A week later I was in rehearsals for Mean Girls, and I did Mean Girls the tour all the way until the pandemic.
Yeah,
Then instead of going back during the pandemic, I ended up booking Kimberly like off Broadway, so I did that.
got it. All right, so let's go to you book the prom. Just because like you had success early, how did you handle the pressure of being young, kind of almost like stumbling into booking this because you again were taking dance classes or auditions just to supplement dance class? Uh yeah, like you're walking in at what? How old are you? 19 or 20 at that time?
I think I booked it at 19, and then we did our lab. Yeah, I booked it at 19. We did the lab when I was 20 because I turned 21 on the last day of the lab.
Okay, I'm
And
sure that was a great celebration.
yes, it was great. It was like a birthday party paid for by prom.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I love that double dipping that ending party for your birthday party as well.
Yes.
Okay, so you're around some of the Broadway greats in the prom. Uh, yeah, how was that navigating through that as a young person?
It was like the coolest learning experience because like prom, as you said, we had a cast of like young people, and then we had the Broadway greats. It was just like that age gap and that experience gap was there. So there was so much that we could learn. I think our younger folks could learn from the vets, and I took a lot from them. Pressure was high. I was stressed
Okay,
because
yeah,
like I
let's get into it because here I love to, have us coach up the listeners and just give them insight, inspiration on like, hey, it's not all butterflies and rainbows, like shit's hard. So
yeah,
yeah, let's get into it. Tell us about that.
Broadway's hard. This was my first like job, and it was with these people who I've known most of you from a distance, like from Houston, watching the Tonys, watching you perform, or like doing research about you while I was in Houston. And now my first job is like with you. So the stress level was high, but I think that the bar was also high, and there was like no time to really think or doubt. There was only time to do.
Mm.
So it was a lot of like doing for all of us. But like especially in the lab going in, I was just so nervous because I was like, did they make a mistake? Like, did they really want me here? Like, is this what they wanted? So it's a lot of that.
What were some instances that you were doubting yourself, like just learning the step? Like, what was it that was making you doubt your abilities?
It was never even like doing the job. It was literally just being in the room.
Mm.
Like they would teach the combo and I'd be like, oh yeah, I got this combo. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, but am I the one that they want here? Like, is this still right? Or like even I know like that was my longest run at that time. So I was like, will my voice last for this long?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of learning about the business, but also learning about myself and what I am capable of or
Mm-hmm.
was. Yeah.
So you had a bit of imposter syndrome. It sounds like. When did you get over it during that process? When did you finally settle in and say that I belong?
Like a few months ago.
Okay. So a few months ago. Okay. So you never, which is totally relatable. Like we all struggle with it to this day. I don't think it ever quite 100% goes away, but you have to just keep uh, reframing your mind to allow yourself to succeed. Okay. A couple of months ago, what kind of breakthrough did you have a couple of months ago?
I don't know what the breakthrough was necessarily, but like because prom I feel like happened to me. And then Mean Girls basically also happened. Like I was stumbling into all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then like at some point I was like, oh, well maybe I'm not stumbling. Maybe I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like living in that energy now of like, yes, I stumbled, but it's that thing they say that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am so prepared and I do know that now. So I'd say that's what changed.
I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up because people talk about lucky breaks or they talk about knowing the right person or they talk about an opportunity that arises that was maybe happenstance, but you still have to be one willing, you have to be willing to like take that jump and take that chance that life is giving you. And two,
Mhm.
like you said, you have to be prepared. Um, so yeah, someone hearing your story might be saying, "Oh, must be nice to book Broadway at 19 or 20," but at the same time, they also aren't going into knowing how much work and preparation you had put into it prior to that. So,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I spent a lot of time just even when I was in high school and at the dance school, I'd be that kid that like got there early, stayed late, like taught myself to tap dance on YouTube before school. So
You're
I think
awesome. You're
all of these
amazing. You're amazing. I'm so glad I got to chat with you today.
thanks. So like yeah, I think I was prepared for that moment.
Yeah, yeah. What person or experience in your life you think shaped you to be that way?
I think it's a lot of little experiences. Like I know like I did an intensive in high school with Jerry Mitchell. And I remember Jerry Mitchell telling us, I think it was when he was rehearsing some show. The Hugh Jackman was rehearsing Boy from Oz. And he was saying how they'd always be the first to show up to New 42 because Hugh Jackman would show up so early just to work on everything
Right.
before. And I think that story inspired me my next year of high school to be like, oh, okay, if just like the way that my high school was located, my mom had to drop me off an hour early. And I was like, I could take a nap like the other two kids here, or I could like be productive during this time. So I was like productive during that time. And I think it was that story that inspired that. And then it was just like a drive to be good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to be average or good, you have to meet the minimum requirement. But if you want to do something great, you have to rise above and do that extra mile to really stand out and to up the level of your abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's to bring it into like sports, they talk about Kobe Bryant showed shooting hundreds of shots before the actual game. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same thing. Jerry Mitchell, yeah, we love Jerry here at Built for the Stage. We'll have to make sure he knows that you shouted him out. He'll love that. Let's take a pause from the. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was serious conversation, but it was serious and great nonetheless. Let's jump on the hot seat, shake it loose a
Okay.
bit, see like what we can learn about you in addition to what we already have. First off, your story is amazing again. So obsessed with this episode already. So I'm super excited to share it with our community. Let's
Thank
put
you.
on some cheesy music. There we go. There's one. There's two. All right, here we go. The FTS hot seat. Is the seat hot? Are you getting sweaty? Are you
I'm a little sweaty.
getting nervous over there?
A
Okay.
little bit.
I don't know how old you. Maybe you're like, I don't know, 10 years old or less. You're watching cable. You're not streaming Netflix. You're watching old school cable right now. Okay. And a movie comes on, and no matter how many times you've seen the movie, you have to stop and watch it. What's that movie? Because you love it so much.
It's Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
Used to
Amazing.
come on Netflix.
Yeah, amazing. So you wake up, you need to feel good vibes, and you're like, you're kind of there, but not really. What is one of your go-to songs that's going to help you get there?
Right now, it is Joy by Pharrell Williams.
Okay, cool. All right. You are, I mean, this is fitting to what you already said. You're not a performer. What are you going to be? Maybe if you would have used that business degree or something, where were you intending to have
I was
that?
intending to do like a producer company manager, maybe like still in theater, but like if we just get out of theater, I think during the pandemic, I became a little obsessed with plastic surgery.
Okay.
Be a plastic surgeon.
All right. Anything specifically? Just like anything? Nose?
Like, I was watching it all. Like I was watching face fillers.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, the videos, they're just so interesting to me.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I'm too queasy with like blood and stuff like that. I wouldn't be able to do it. Okay. So you have let's say you have like a time machine. Where are you gonna go and what are you gonna be doing? Like, are you going to, I don't know, Alaska to do some ice fishing? Like, what are we doing?
I think I'm staying in New York, but going like hopefully 200 years in the future. I just want to see what we come up with.
Wild, right?
Yeah.
I just saw on Instagram someone saying like, if you could live forever, would you? And I'm like, the way the advancements of technology is going, I feel like it would be. I feel like it's gonna go way bad. It's gonna go really bad.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'll pass on that.
Okay, so hopping back into theater, last question. You can be in any show, any role. It doesn't even have to be like a dream role, but just like what's something as of late that you're like, I'd love to rock this out.
I think I still want to play Donkey in Trek.
There you go. All right, congratulations. You're off the BFTS hot seat. Not so hot. See, it's okay. It's all good.
Not too bad. It was a warm seat.
Yeah, it was a warm seat. Maybe I should. That's cute. I think I'll rename that. The BFTS warm seat. I like that. Okay, so hopping back onto the show before we let you go here, what's like a couple of the scenes or moments, themes of the show, if you will, that like really hit home with you in that rehearsal process or the beginning phases of the show, or even now, like no matter how many times it comes up, what are a couple of those moments that really stick out to you?
I think the like overall message of like seize the day, why wait? That's what's resonated with me more, which also could be how we got over this imposter syndrome situation. Because that is the theme of the show. That resonates the most. And then the scene that I just love doing and hearing is Inevitable Turn, because I just think it's a great song.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm very, very curious about the ice skating scenes and how the floor works. Are you allowed to talk about that or no?
Yeah, the floor is this thing called Polyglide. It's a
Yeah.
plastic that's like thicker than usual, and they put glycerin on it twice a week, and we step in a little glycerin bath before we go out, and then you're able to ice skate on it. But then you're able to walk on it, and it's not slippery at all. It's what ice skaters use to practice at home, I believe.
See, that's what I was going to ask. So if you don't have the glycerin on the bottom of your shoes, then you're okay. You're not going to slide.
Yeah, you're not gonna slide.
Got it. Yeah, because that's what I was so messed up about in my head was that no one seemed unstable in their shoes, but then when you had the ice skates on, you were able to slide around. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it was about they like found the right ratio of like water to glycerin for us to be able to walk on it and it not be too slippery, which was like we figured that all out in rehearsal because none of us had dealt with this stuff before.
Yeah.
So it was the learning curve.
Got it. With your cast being young, what kind of shenanigans are going on backstage? Are you guys behaving?
We're pretty behaved. We're like a small group. So you were like we're kind of, it's small, it's tight, so it's pretty behaved. It's a tame building.
Yeah, you're less. Are you less than 10, the cast?
Yeah, there are 9. Well, there are 9 of us on stage, and then 6 upstairs. I mean, covers.
Yeah. What's it like working with Victoria Clark?
She's the best. It's everything you would expect it to be. Yeah, we call her mother.
There you go. What kind of lessons, or like you talked about the Jerry Mitchell, Hugh Jackman thing, anything from her that you've kind of like stolen to put in your tool belt?
Yeah, a lot of things. One pretty recent, she told me that in previews when she would do the show and she'd go out to the stage door, she'd be like, "Do you have any notes for me?" And then she would ask the teenagers and be like, "So how do you think I did at playing a teenager?" And them being teenagers, they would give their honest opinion, and she took all that and put that in her performance. And I'm like, that's brilliant and bold and kind of scary. That's one of them, but there are so many.
Yeah. My first Broadway show I ever saw was The Light in the Piazza, and as you know, she starred in that as Margaret. So seeing her up there, and I haven't seen her perform live since then. And this was in 2006 or 7 is when I saw her.
Yeah,
long time ago.
And now she's playing someone who's 40 years younger.
Right, exactly. All right, cool. Fernell, so good to meet you. Congratulations on the show. Thank you for your time. Everyone that was listening, I mean, rewind and listen to the whole thing, but that middle chunk there, super inspiring, and you're just an awesome person. So I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Thank you. Great meeting you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a great rest of the week with your shows, and we'll chat with you soon.
All righty. See ya.
Bye. Good luck with the move.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, Fernell Hogan from Kimberly Akimbo. Make sure you give Fernell a follow on the gram. You can check that out in the description of this episode, but it's Fernell's name, Fernell Hogan. So you can just type that on in. Great branding there. Keep it simple so they can find you. I'm Joe Roscoe with Built for the Stage. Again, check us out, builtforthestage.com. And we'll see you on the next one. Actors or athletes, train like one. Later.